Again, every single video, as in every single video, I have to tell you guys this is that this is not a women hating channel. This video is not supposed to be hating on women. I'm not a misogynist, but you can think whatever you want to think of me. Doesn't bother me a single bit. Do you know why? It's because last time I checked, you don't pay my bills. So why do you think your opinion even comes across my head? Even for 5 seconds. It doesn't. Fellas, it is not in women's nature to be accountable and responsible. Do not argue with her about this. This is her nature. Again, I'm showing you guys what her nature is, so you can learn from it and use it in your own advantage. This is why people say man up. Because it's in our nature to be the accountable and responsible one. It's in our nature to make responsible decisions. And if things don't work out, to take accountability for it. They will never do that. Where do we see the biggest example of this? Student loan debts, breakups and relationships. Have you ever heard a woman say that ever? After any relationships, have you ever heard her say that, oh, it was my fault, that's why it didn't work out? No, she never says what she did in the relationship. It's always his fault. Are you telling me that this guy, like everything was going perfectly smooth and out of nowhere this guy just started creating problems? No. Chances are you're probably being distant from him. You're probably seeing other guys, your ex-best friends. You're probably flirting with other guys when you guys are out in public. You're probably liking other guys' pictures on Instagram, and he found out. And he started asking you about it. Oh, now he's insecure. I don't want to get into that. Student loan debt. What do women say when they cannot pay that debt off anymore? Oh my God, I cannot believe that I have to pay it all off. What do you mean? Who's gonna pay it off? Government paid off. Daddy paid off. My rich husband paid off. I don't want to pay it off. Then why did you take it? Why did you go through schooling to get some worthless degree that you knew that it's not going to pay you as much at the end? As much student loan that you were taking out at least. Why did you go through that? Because they don't have a vision. They can't think future long terms. You know, the longest term what they can think is a week, is maximum a week. That's it. Even my own mother, the person who gave birth to me, even she cannot think long term. And I have never met another woman in my life who's as wholesome, who's as feminine. Well, no, I wouldn't say feminine, because my mother picked up some masculine traits after my dad left her and I, but that's a different story. Like, I come from a complete different background than all of you guys come from. So her being a single mother is not the same as these women out here in the West being single mothers. She didn't have a choice. But anyways, and my parents were actually married when I was born, so it wasn't just like some guy came over and did her and then he left and she got pregnant. So my mother is the most wholesome woman, caring woman that I have ever met. And even she cannot make good, responsible, long-term decisions. Even she needs a man in her life. And probably the most smart woman, the smartest woman I've ever met too, when it comes to life advice. Most of these things that I talk about, a lot of it came from my mom. She's the one who taught me about female nature and this and that a little bit here and there. And then I started learning stuff from YouTube, and then I would share it with her and she would agree with me. And then I asked her, why did you tell me about all this? And she told me that you're too young, which she's right. I was too young to learn all of this. Like, and even like she didn't know how I would take it at that early age when I was in high school if she told me about all this. So she just let me find out by myself, which is a good and a bad thing. But anyways, I'm getting off on a different tangent. Fellas, we also see that when it comes to losing their virginity. I talked about it in my last video. If she's not a virgin, she's too far gone. Okay? They don't want to admit that they make terrible, horrible decisions when it comes to picking a right mate. They just don't want to admit it. They will never admit it that Okay, how many guys has she slept with so far? By the time I keep telling you guys, by the time she has turned 18, 20, 21, her body count is well over 10. If she tells you otherwise, she's straight up lying to your face. The number she tells you, the body count she tells you, multiply that number by 3, and then you'll know her actual body count. Okay? So if she has had sex with at least 10 guys, where is all these guys at? Why can't she date any of them? Because she made some horrible choices. These guys were not dating material. They were just a quick pump and dump or rotation type of guys who just wanted a quick lay with her. They were quote unquote the alpha males, the sexual alpha males, not all around alpha males. They were losers in life. Those are the type of guys she's attracted to. Terrible decisions. But they'll never admit that because they don't want to seem like they made some terrible choices. They cannot, fellas, they can't function. They're gonna break down if they come into reality. That's why they have to give themselves a false facade every single night before they go to sleep. Most of these girls go to sleep miserable anyways, thinking that they wish they had somebody to cuddle with, to call, to be in a relationship with. Yeah, all girls go through a whole phase, but everybody wants to be loved, right? Nobody wants to be alone. That's just human nature, right? Even as a guy, even as a red pill guy, me, I still don't want to be alone forever. I still want to be loved, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. I know all of you guys sitting out here watching these videos want the same exact thing. A wholesome woman who's capable to love you. So you're not alone for the rest of your life. I get it. But they will never admit that to themselves because that breaks their bubble that they're living in. That completely shatters their bubble. I'm not telling you guys out here to go out and do that. Break and shatter their bubble and humiliate them and talk down on them and this and that. But if you do, that's your business, dude. I'm not judging anyone, okay? At the rate that they're screwing us over, at this point, anything is fair game. So this is why you cannot hold them accountable or responsible for any of their actions. This is why they'll never admit that they made some horrible decisions. This is why they always try to cover that fact up. Oh no, I dated him for 6 months, 7 months. I was in a complete HOE before I went to bed with him. I don't just jump from bed to bed with guys. Yes, she does. She's lying to you. She knows that if she's not a virgin anymore, if she has sex with more than 2 guys, it looks really bad. That's why she tries to cover it all up by making you feel ashamed that you are wanting a wholesome virgin girl. Oh, I cannot believe that you would want that from a girl. What makes you think that's okay to ask that from a girl? What makes me think that it's okay to ask purity from a girl? Are you out of your mind? You're telling me I cannot want a pure girl? Somebody who has not been brainwashed by feminism, somebody whose body has not been used up by other guys? That's wrong for me to ask? That's what you're telling me. This is social conditioning, fellas. This is what we've been conditioned years after years after years. So this is not gonna just change overnight. This is why you guys need to be watching red pill stuff every single day. And this is why I keep making these women nature videos so you guys can watch it every single day. You think years of conditioning is just going to poof, go away with 5 bitty videos, 10 videos, 50 videos? No. Even 500 videos isn't enough. They're not accountable, fellas. They're not responsible. At workplace, if something goes wrong, it's always the boss's fault. Who's the boss? The boss is a man. They always want to blame it on a man. Another example of where you see that they're not accountable and responsible is entrepreneurship. How many female entrepreneurs do you guys know? They don't pick that route. Do you know why? Because it is not the safest route. You have to be a lot more responsible and accountable for your actions than you would have to be if you were somebody's employee. If you're an employer, oh man, you already know how many responsibilities you have, how much accountability you have. This is why you don't see female entrepreneurs as much as you see male entrepreneurs. You can't debate that, at least, right? At least we can find that common ground, is that females don't start businesses at the rate men do, right? At least let's settle on that. Females who are watching this, you can't argue me on that fact, right? If you are, then okay, I mean, Good for you. If you're a female and arguing with me, I don't respond to you. You know that. And if you're a guy who's arguing with me, I still probably won't respond to you. I'll just tell you to go watch more of my videos. It's a bad time we're living in, fellas, okay? You cannot trust anybody. You cannot be reliant. You cannot be relying on anybody but yourself. You are the only person. You are your only hope at the end of the day. Okay? Until feminism goes away, until these females start acting right, I highly suggest not to get into a long-term relationship. I highly suggest not to get married, because this is just going to drain your pocket out. I'm going to talk about that in another video. How dating and marriages just kill your finances. But if you do find a virgin, girls, this is why I've always told all my guys that if she's a virgin, give her more priority. Let's say if she's a 6, okay? And let's say another girl who's a 10, who slept with 2 guys, and a 6 hasn't slept with any guy, she's a virgin. And a room full of guys know this, that there's 2 girls in this room, one's a 6, one's a 10, one's a virgin, one's a not. The whole room, I promise you, 90% of these guys are going to divert towards the 6 than the 10, subconsciously or consciously. Even if a guy says that he's not attracted to virgins because they're not as experienced, even he will subconsciously lean towards the non-virgin, because it's biologically programmed in us, fellas. I keep telling you guys, we're attracted to women's purity, of women's femininity. A virgin girl will always be more feminine than a non-virgin chick. Yeah, you'll see some virgin girls out here starting to act like a feminist, but as soon as they lose their V card, they become full-on feminist mode. Do you know why? Because the guy that she just lost it to, he doesn't want to be with the feminists, right? And he most likely doesn't have this red pill knowledge to check his woman, to get his woman back in line. So what he does, he just leaves her. Like, oh, I'm not dealing with this. Or he starts becoming more feminine, and the girl takes full advantage of that. She now starts hating men because he left her. Oh, all men are the same, this and that. And she starts just completely just drowning in herself in that feminist ideology. Or if he's still around and being feminine instead of being masculine, she starts putting the pants on in the relationship. She starts taking the masculine role. Either ways, she starts becoming a full-on feminist then. Fellas, what's a feminist? What makes a girl a feminist? Okay, that's a completely another video topic. I keep talking about this, right? And I say 99% of females out here are feminist. But when you go out in public, you don't hear all these 9s and 10s, 8s, 9s, and 10s talk about all this feminist ideology. That doesn't mean that they're not, just because they're not saying it out loud. There are certain keys you need to, and characteristics in a female's character that you need to look out for when you're dealing with a feminist. 99% of girls have at least 1% of feminist ideology in them. So automatically just assume that. I'm going to talk about it in another video. I want to keep this video a little bit short. Hope this video made sense. Give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. Share the videos from this channel to your friends. A lot of guys couldn't use this information. Fellas, do not argue with her. If you're arguing with her, you're wasting your time. You're talking to a brick wall, because she's not responsible, she's not accountable. It's in her biological nature, and you cannot change that. You cannot fight nature like that. The only thing you can do is improve yourself, be more accountable and responsible for your own actions in your own life. That's the best thing you can, that's the best gift you can give to yourself. Everything else will just fall into line by itself. And if she doesn't fall into line, next her. Go find somebody else. Until next time, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and above all, stay classy.